Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today on Be Vivydus. This is Heather Allmendinger, your cyclical living and period awareness coach. Today, we're going to be talking about cyclical living. What is it? How to do it? What are the benefits of it? So, what exactly is it? This is a way to embrace balance and harmony in your life. There's a way to cultivate, and by aligning your activities, self-care practices, all within your natural rhythms, so you can experience a greater sense of flow, ease, and overall well-being. You can optimize your productivity and creativity by just understanding your cyclical energy patterns. You know when to work high energy things. You'll know when to rest and really look into that self-care. You can better structure your tasks, your projects, your creative pursuits, all to align very naturally to support focus, inspiration, and innovation. It gives you a deeper connection to yourself and self-care. You cultivate a loving relationship with your body. You honor your needs and implement self-care practices to nurture overall health, vitality, and it gives you meaning and purpose by finding your natural flow. Because by embracing your cyclical living, you're uncovering a deeper sense of meaning and purpose of life. You can explore your unique cycles and rhythms that align with the cycles of nature, allowing you to tap into a profound sense of interconnectedness and purposeful living. And this can be done on your own. If you want help, that's where a cyclical living coach can help guide you through these wonderful different phases. So now that we know some of the benefits and how it can help you, what exactly is it? Well, again, it is a way for you to understand your body. Our bodies communicate with us every single day, all the time. Throughout the entire day, our body is telling us what it needs, what it doesn't need, what it wants. We just have to learn to listen. And when we know what it needs and what it's trying to communicate with us, we can support it. And it is absolutely amazing what happens when we learn to support our own bodies. For me, when I learned what my body needed, I went from heavy, painful periods to mildly painful periods that were medium, maybe a few heavy flows, but for the most part, they were just mild to medium flows. When I didn't have the PMS, I didn't have the anxiety, I didn't have the depression. It was like I stepped into an unknown universe. I never realized how powerful understanding my body was. So how do we do this? How do we get into cyclical living? Well, we have to understand what is going on within our bodies. And by doing that, we have to understand that our bodies we have our cycle. And our cycle is made up of 4 different phases. I'm going to be talking about, if you look at the medical field or if you talk to your doctor, the language to be used is follicular and luteal. You've got menstruation, you've got ovulation. If you are more of a moon type of individual and love to talk about the moon and are very pulled and in tuned to the moon links up with your body. And it also links up with your cycle. And then you have your new moon, your waxing moon, your full moon, and your waning moon. And that falls into the cycle. Or if you would like, you can look at this as seasons. I know most seasons are about 3 months long. Well, this is a monthly season. And every month our body goes through all 4 seasons. So we have a winter time frame, we have a spring time frame, we have a summer time frame, and we have a fall or autumn. So by understanding where we are and learning our body, we can support it by understanding where we are and what it needs. And you can use either the medical terms of menstruation, follicular, ovulation, and luteal, especially if you're talking to a medical professional, because that's what they're going to understand. Or you can use the new moon, waning or waxing moon, full moon, waning moon, or you can use the seasons of winter, spring, summer, and fall. We're going to start in a little bit of an unusual spot, and that is the autumn time of our cycle, or the luteal phase of our cycle. This is also the waning moon time of our cycle. And the reason I start here is because this is where the planning begins for your cyclical living. This part of your cycle is pretty consistent. It is the time from when during your reproductive years, it is when right at the day after ovulation, and it ends the day before your next menstruation. It is pretty consistent. A healthy luteal phase is 9 to 18 days long. In this time, you'll notice that you have a decreased energy. You'll also notice that you have an impulse buying. You might want to buy those big ticket items. This is very common during this phase. You may also notice that you're hungry a lot more during this phase. And the reason that is because this is where, during ovulation, the follicle that held the egg is released during ovulation. And that hole that is left from where that mature egg was pushed out develops a new organ called the corpus luteum. It takes energy to grow that corpus luteum. That corpus luteum makes progesterone, which holds on to the uterine lining that was grown during the first half of the cycle. So we eat more. You may notice that you eat more. If you do track basal body temperature, you'll notice that your temperature has changed. What to do during this phase to help support your body is observe. This is a time to observe. This is a time to review. This is a time to evaluate. This is a time to tie up projects that you started earlier this month. This is a time to organize. You may notice that imposter syndrome shows up during this time frame. And this is normal. It may be one of those that you're just walking along one day and somebody comes over and says, you know what, that was a great presentation, or you're doing a great job, or you just got that promotion, and you sit there and go, I don't know how I got that. This is also a perfectionism stage. This recording that you're listening to, this is the third time I am recording it, because the first two times I didn't like the way it was. And usually I record and I release. But for some reason, I recorded these during the first two during my luteal phase. And I just didn't like them. I didn't like how they sounded. I didn't like how they looked. And usually I don't look at them. And I didn't, but I didn't like how they all kind of came together. So I deleted them. And that is part of luteal phase. It's the imposter syndrome, the perfectionism shows up during this phase. And as I said before, you have decreased energy. In your business or personal review, to start planning your life cyclically, you look at your what questions. And journaling is a great thing to do during 3 out of the 4 phases. This is one of those 3 out of the 4. So journaling what questions. And Heather, what do you mean by what questions? Well, what went well over the last 4 weeks? What didn't go well over the last 4 weeks that you have control over? What do you want to add into your life over the next 4, 8, 12 weeks? What do you want to get rid of over the next 4, 8, 12 weeks? These are just some of the what questions to look at and to journal and to answer. You don't have to go into depth, just what went well and list those out. What didn't go well, list those out. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to, you don't have to go deep. Some foods to help nourish you during this time will include squash, radishes, eggplant, celery, onions. Great time for that higher protein. High protein is good for throughout your cycle. This time in your cycle, it is a very good time to get that higher protein, because here soon you're going to go into the winter phase, which is the menstrual phase, and you'll need that protein for that blood release. High fiber, 20 to 22 grams of fiber each day is good to do on a daily basis. Fiber during the luteal phase is extremely important because estrogen can accumulate in our liver, and that can lead to those PMS symptoms. But by increasing your fiber, it actually decreases the amount of estrogen left in our liver. Estrogen is released through our waste products, and the liver filters that. So by having that extra fiber, we are releasing that excess estrogen our body doesn't need. So come next month, when we get into this phase, that PMS may not be too bad, because PMS is where it shows up. The luteal phase is where PMS rears its ugly head. So that breast tenderness, that depression, the anxiety, the just feeling blah and don't know why, the emotions, that is during this phase. So having that high fiber will definitely decrease the symptoms of PMS. And dark chocolate is good during this phase. Dark chocolate is high in magnesium. Our reproductive systems need that magnesium. Magnesium is needed for over 300 metabolic systems activities within our body. So that's why you might crave that chocolate during this time frame. It's because our body needs it. Some tastes, we got the sweet and the starchy in the very first week or so of the luteal phase, and in the second week of the luteal phase, it may change to savory and pungent. And it's because there was this there's a hump in the middle of this luteal phase. The luteal phase is predominantly progesterone, high progesterone, with estrogen being a lot lower. However, about 7 to 10 days into this phase, estrogen increases. And when that happens, your energy might come back a little bit. You might notice a little bit more energy. That's when it'll change to savory and pungent, because shortly after that estrogen rises, that's when your progesterone and your estrogen are both going to decrease, and you're going to go into your menstruation. Over these 8 to 19 days, soulful music, rom-coms may be what your body wants to watch and listen to. Some smells to help you with this stage and phase that your body may want are lavender, chamomile, ylang-ylang, and clary sage. Touch and movement. This is the time to relax and connect. This is a great time to do Netflix and chill with your kids. This is the time to just sit, enjoy your family, sit around, talk, watch movies, not do anything really strenuous. And I do have dogs, so we decided to go find out whatever was making noise out in the kitchen. So this is real, this is raw, this is my life. So that was Zoe deciding to go and protect mommy. But this is also, the luteal phase is also a great time for cuddling. That touching of especially if your love language is touch, it's really needed definitely during this luteal phase. Spirit meditation, whatever you believe, meditation, be it prayer, be it spells, be it just releasing your thoughts and words into the universe, whatever your belief system is, that is what falls under meditation, and the journaling of those what questions. Because once we get through the luteal phase and that progesterone and that estrogen decrease, and if you're outside the reproductive years, your body's still going, we're going to go into the winter phase or the new moon phase or the menstrual phase. And it's about 3 to 7 days on average. This is a time to rest, restore, internally reflect, deep relaxation, quiet and calm. Great time to clear out that email inbox for business. If you're in the corporate world, this is the time where you're really not feeling like doing much. So you do your bare bones basics and be okay with that. You do not have to be high on your game. And I recommend that you do not try and push yourself through this phase. Listen to your body. It is a very short phase. And it's usually the first day or two that it feels this way. Usually by day 3 or 4, your energy starts to increase. It's a great time to just do those filing. If you have a desk piled high with papers, this is a great time to file. This is a good time for self-improvement books and just reading and just going deep inside yourself. Maybe some shadow work might be a good time with self-improvement. Manifesting is this time, the new moon, menstruation, and winter is a great time to manifest, and it is a great time to do those big picture thoughts. If you think of the winter months, you're thinking comfy clothes, you're thinking warm soups. Just think about what you do during the winter time when it's cold out, the days are short, you're not going to want to do much, very much like what it is during your reproductive years and your new moon. Very, very low energy. Foods to help nourish you during this time include buckwheat, beets, seaweed, duck, watermelon, cranberries, and soups. You might be craving some salty tastes. For sight and sound, simple, calm music and reading are great to do during this time. Some smells that you might be craving or that can help support you during this time include lavender, ylang ylang, clary sage, grapefruit, thyme, and oregano. Touch and movement, warm baths, gentle stretching. You don't have to get up and do yoga. You can very easily sit on the couch or in your bed and just do some gentle stretching. Do some gentle neck rolls, do some gentle shoulder stretches. You don't have to do anything major. Just do a little bit of movement to make your body feel better. A slow walk is okay if you feel like going for a slow walk. For spirit meditation, journaling, this is where our why questions come into play. Our why questions, we go back to our what questions. And you asked, what did you want to get rid of in your life? And you wrote those down. Well, why would you like to get rid of them? Or why do you want to bring those things? Why do you want to bring different things into your business or into your life? What do you want to improve on? Why do you want, in this phase, it's why. Why do you want to improve them? Why did something go well? Why didn't something go well? Why do we want to get rid of it? Why do we want to bring it in? The why questions. And that helps you understand a little bit more on how to go into our next phase, which is our waxing moon or follicular phase and our spring phase. This is where estrogen starts to rise. And it is a time to problem solve. It is time to make those lists and to conceptualize, to plan, to focus on details. Great time to try something new, great time to grow, great time to learn new things. Your energy is rising. This phase is anywhere between, it can be 10 days, it can be 19 days. It really all depends on what is going on in your body and in your life. It is a very variable phase. And this phase goes from the time menstruation starts until ovulation takes place. Some foods to nourish you during this time include oats, lemons, broccoli, carrot, zucchini, avocado, cashews, and chicken. The taste that you might crave with those foods are sour. Some sight and sound, get out and socialize. You want to be around people during this phase. You want to start listening to upbeat music. This is a great time to go out and network. This is a great time to go out and connect with our sisters and our brothers and people that we have just recently met or haven't met yet. This is a great time to network. This is a great time to go and try a new club, visit a new club, visit a new place that you haven't been before. Try something new. Some smells that may help you during this time frame include herbs, citrus, juniper berry, and clove. Touch and movement during this time is water cycling between like a hot and cold shower, or if you go out and you exercise, you ride your bike or you run and you're hot and you're sweaty, you come back and you jump into a cold shower. That's water cycling. Or if you sit in a hot tub or a sauna, you leave that hot environment, you're hot and you're sweaty, and you jump into a cold pool. This is a good time to do that. Your libido is on the rise. This is also a great time for those HIIT workouts, those high intensity interval training workouts. This is also a great time that if you are in weight training to maybe up the reps, up the weight, up the number of rounds. This is a good time to try and see and to push yourself a little bit more. For spirit, adventures. Start checking off that stuff on your bucket list. This is a great time to start doing that. Also journal. These are your how questions. We asked a few weeks ago, what did we want to bring into our business? And we asked then, why do we want to bring it into our business? And after answering those, this is how are we going to bring this into our business? Or the question was, what do we want to get rid of? Why do we want to get rid of that in our business or our life? In this phase, we're going to ask, how are we going to get rid of this? Are we going to delegate it? Are we going to sell it? Are we just going to decrease inventory and not make it anymore? How are we going to remove something? How are we going to bring something in? We asked before what went well. We asked why it went well, and how can we make it better? Or how are we going to keep it the same? Or even how are we going to, yes, how are we going to make it better if it was something that didn't go well? How are we going to improve it? So that's where the journaling, these are the how questions. Because what happens next is most individuals' favorite phase of their cycle. And that is the full moon, ovulations taking place, and this is the summer. This is a time to be your big, bold, authentic self. You feel absolutely gorgeous. Great time to do speaking engagements, to do those big asks if you have to go and you have to talk to different people and you have a proposal and you've just been kind of sitting there, not quite sure when to do it. During this phase is a great time to do it. It's a great time to step outside that comfort zone. It is a great time to ask for a promotion. It is a great time to do any big type of asks because you are feeling fabulous. This is a high energy, high confidence time, but it is a very, very short phase. It is maybe 3 to 4 days long. It is very, very short. Foods to help nourish you during this time include corn, quinoa, asparagus, tomatoes, dandelion, raspberries, shrimp, and beef. Tastes that you may enjoy during this time are bitter flavors. Some sight and sounds that you may enjoy during this time are action movies and that heavy bass. Some smells that you may enjoy include citrus and black pepper. This is touch and movement. This is a great time to get those deep tissue or acupuncture massages because your pain tolerance is a lot higher than any other time during your natural rhythms and cycles. This is a great time for boot camp routines, adventure courses. If you want to go out and do the trapeze classes, this is a great time to do it. Those dance classes, this is a great time to do it. Embrace your feelings during this phase. This is your do phase in your review, your personal and business review. There is nothing to ask. This is a time to do. You already asked what about your business. You already asked why. You already asked how. Now you're going to go and do. Because this is your do phase and you don't have a lot of time of that high energy before your energy is going to start to decrease. With having that information about your phases, you now have the knowledge that gives you freedom. You can now plan out your weeks, your months, and your year in cycle, in the phases of your cycle. You can do this in cyclical living. With those phases, you learned what to journal. By knowing what to journal and answering those questions, those what, why, how questions, you've decreased the chances of burnout and you've given yourself clarity on what you want to do over the next 3 to 4 weeks. You've learned what foods are available to eat to help you support your body, to help you regulate your moods, and to balance those hormones. And there are a lot of hormones during your reproductive years. There are 12 hormones that play a part in our monthly cycle during our reproductive years. There's a few less once we've crossed over into our menopause years and our wise years. But during our reproductive years, and even in the as we lead into puberty, we have those hormones that are developing, are regulating, and we need to nourish our bodies. From the time that we had our first menarche all the way until we're 12 months past our last menarche, we still need to nourish our bodies and balance those hormones. And all of this is so that way you can become Vivydus. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this information has been valuable for you. And I look forward to hearing questions from you, thoughts, feedback. Let me know what you want to hear more about, what you'd prefer not to hear about. I am here to educate and to help you live your life as full as possible. And I look forward to seeing you next week.